Fake snake pranks versus jump scare pranks. Which one makes people lose it more? What scares people more? Slithering snakes or sudden jump scares? I terrorized 20 volunteers to find out which prank creates pure panic and which might get you punched in the face. The results? Mind-blowing. Fear is our oldest emotion, the difference between our ancestors surviving or becoming dinner. Today, I'm putting two classic pranks head-to-head in the ultimate fear showdown. I've measured heart rates, analyzed reactions, and risked personal injury to answer one question. Which prank truly makes people lose their minds? Get ready. The science of fear is about to get personal. The science of fear. When you get scared, your amygdala, the brain's fear center, floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart races, pupils dilate, and muscles tense, all preparing you to fight or flee. Different fears trigger different neural pathways. Snake fears connect to evolutionary wiring. Our brains developed specific circuits to detect serpentine shapes instantly. It's pure survival instinct, millions of years in the making. Jump scares exploit your startle reflex, that instantaneous, uncontrollable response when something unexpected happens. Your body reacts before your conscious mind even processes the threat. I designed an experiment to determine which fear response is more intense. The results weren't what I expected. Fake snake pranks. I strategically placed ultra-realistic rubber snakes where 20 unsuspecting volunteers would encounter them, under pillows and drawers, along garden paths. The physical responses were fascinating. Most people jumped backward, creating distance before their conscious mind even registered why. Several froze completely, classic prey response. And the sounds? Primal screams that could shatter glass. What distinguishes snake pranks is the sustained fear response. Even after realizing the snake was fake, volunteers remained fixated on it. Their nervous system stayed activated, unable to fully accept the threat was neutralized. One participant's heart rate remained elevated for over 3 minutes after encountering the fake snake. I logically knew it wasn't real, she told me, but my body refused to believe it. The psychological impact extends beyond the moment. Several volunteers reported being hyper-vigilant for hours afterward, checking dark corners and approaching bags cautiously. Snake pranks create a peculiar fear narrative: initial shock, momentary terror, lingering anxiety, and gradual relief. This extended arc amplifies the emotional impact, creating deeper psychological distress. Most intriguing were the defensive responses. Several participants grabbed nearby objects as weapons, books, phones, even a houseplant, demonstrating our instinctive readiness to defend against serpentine threats. I noticed interesting demographic patterns too. Those who grew up in urban environments showed significantly stronger reactions than rural participants, who often had more real-life snake encounters. This suggests our fear response can be amplified by unfamiliarity. The location of the snake created distinct reaction patterns. Snakes placed in bathrooms or bedrooms, spaces where we feel vulnerable, triggered more intense responses than those in neutral locations. But what truly fascinated me was the lingering psychological impact. Hours after the experiment, participants still described feeling on edge. One volunteer texted me at 3 a.m. saying she'd woken up from a snake nightmare. But how does this compare to the instant chaos of a jump scare? Jump scare pranks. For the second phase, I orchestrated classic jump scares, hiding behind doors, leaping from closets, and springing from dark corners when least expected. The immediate physical responses were spectacular. Every single volunteer exhibited the startle reflex, muscles tensing, eyes widening, hands raising defensively. Several involuntarily screamed or shouted. Most fascinating was the instantaneous fight-or-flight response. Half the participants reflexively backed away while 7 actually moved toward the threat, one landing a solid connection with my jaw that I definitely felt the next day. Jump scares create an explosive neural response, a surge of adrenaline that floods the system all at once. Heart rates spiked dramatically, increasing by an average of 58 beats per minute in the first 5 seconds. What distinguishes jump scares from snake pranks is the recovery trajectory. Terror peaks instantly, but dissipates quickly. Within 45 seconds, most participants showed normalized vital signs and were laughing about the experience. One volunteer described it perfectly. With the snake, I was scared, then realized it was fake, but still felt uneasy. With the jump scare, I nearly died of fright, then immediately wanted to kill you, then was completely fine 5 seconds later. Jump scares trigger intense emotional whiplash, calm to terror to relief in seconds. This compressed emotional journey creates a powerful but short-lived experience that's both traumatic and, paradoxically, often immediately forgiven. The verbalized responses were particularly colorful. I documented 37 unique profanities across languages, often followed by nervous laughter and threats of reciprocal pranking. Context dramatically influenced jump scare reactions. Scares executed in broad daylight generated milder responses than those in dimly lit environments. The brain processes visual information more quickly in well-lit conditions, allowing faster recognition that the threat isn't real. Sound played a crucial role too. Jump scares accompanied by sudden, loud noises produced 40% more intense reactions than silent ones. This multi-sensory assault overwhelms the brain's ability to process information, amplifying the fear response. I also tracked a fascinating post-scare phenomenon I call the revenge planning phase. Within seconds of recovery, 65% of participants began plotting reciprocal pranks. This immediate shift from fear to plotting suggests a psychological need to regain control after an unexpected fear event. Perhaps most interesting was the almost universal absence of lingering effects. Unlike snake pranks, which created persistent anxiety, jump scare victims reported no lasting impacts. The fear evaporated as quickly as it arrived. The verdict. After analyzing biometric data, reaction footage, and post-prank interviews, clear patterns emerged about these distinct fear experiences. Jump scares produced more intense immediate reactions. Higher peak heart rate spikes, average plus 58 beats per minute versus plus 42 for snakes. Louder vocal responses, average 74 decibels versus 68. More dramatic physical movements. Greater likelihood of reflexive aggression, 35% versus 10%. More extreme facial expressions of fear. Higher rates of involuntary physical responses, gasping, jumping. However, snake pranks created significantly longer lasting effects. Extended heart rate elevation, 117 seconds versus 43 seconds. Persistent pupil dilation. Continued vigilance behavior. Self-reported anxiety lasting hours afterward. More vivid recall of the experience 24 hours later. Increased caution in similar environments for days after. What truly distinguishes these pranks is their psychological impact. Jump scares create explosive but ephemeral fear, the psychological equivalent of a lightning strike. Snake pranks generate slower burning but deeper dread, more like psychological quicksand. Perhaps most revealing were participants' responses when asked which prank they'd rather experience again. Despite the more intense, immediate reaction, 70% chose jump scares over snake encounters. As one volunteer put it, "The jump scare is over in seconds. That fake snake stared at me for minutes, and I kept thinking about it all day." Which team are you on? Explosive jump scares or psychological snake warfare? Drop your vote in the comments. Next week, I'll use your suggestions to create the ultimate hybrid prank that combines both fear triggers. Hit subscribe now and activate notifications. You'll never hear horror movie soundtracks the same way again. Remember, the best pranks are the ones where everyone laughs afterward, eventually. See you next time.